Okay, now it's recording.
Got it.
So
I'm
let's
gonna
get
change
back
my.
to the.
Okay, I gotta
It's a
change
good
my.
question.
Yeah, I will. I will. Um, so dije, ¿cómo te ha ido? Pero no entiendo cómo te ha ido. ¿Qué estoy diciendo? Like, no
¿Cómo
entiendo
te ha ido?
cómo te ha ido.
Ido
Porque,
del verbo ir, como
ajá.
go. So
Wait,
it's
¿cuál verbo es ir?
ido es
¿Cómo
de,
te ha ido? Ok, ¿cómo te ha ido? Ok,
sí, ido del verbo ir, the go. Entonces,
ok,
it's how has it gone? As if you were saying something like, how has it gone with you?
ok,
Something like that. It's
ok.
closer in the meaning when you say, how has it been? Or
Sí.
how have you been?
Sí, me
Como
gusta
te,
aprender las frases nativas porque mi amigo de México siempre está diciendo eso y por la primera vez que escuché eso estoy como no entiendo. Pero también hace un año no entendí la frase ¿cómo has estado? Entonces, pero por ahora eso tiene sentido 100%. Entonces, ahí estar
sí.
mejorando, pero todavía es difícil y hay muchas cosas. Tienes que aprender poco a poco cada día.
Es
Es
verdad,
verdad.
de a poco. Aparte, hay un montón de frases, muchas en los saludos,
Ujú,
que no son necesariamente frases con mucho sentido.
ujú.
Una que usamos mucho acá, por ejemplo, hablando de cómo has estado, no me suena como un saludo típico de Argentina, por ejemplo. Si
Sí,
bien lo entenderíamos, no me suena como las cosas que más decimos. Pero, por
sí.
ejemplo, a veces decimos, ¿qué tal? Hola,
Mm.
¿qué tal?
¿Qué
¿Qué
tal? ¿Qué
tal?
tal? Suena genial porque tiene sentido.
Ajá.
Pero en inglés decimos what's up y literalmente es todo que está arriba. Esto,
¿Qué sentido
eso,
tiene eso?
sí. Y también a veces estoy seguro que sabes eso, pero no estoy seguro 100%. Pero en inglés, cuando queremos decir hasta luego, podemos decir see you later, pero es más común decir see ya later, like see you later. Pero
Sí, ya.
también a veces solo decimos later, like
Ajá,
later.
ajá.
And I think that's weird because
It is.
one time I was in a call and my friend heard me say later to my friend and he was like, "Why just later?" So, because
Where's
I
the
don't
rest
think
of the
you should
sentence?
say later. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, a
What
veces no
happened to the rest?
es, pero tienes que aprender como un niño, no puedes hacer preguntas porque esto lo es así.
Bueno, es
Entonces,
gracioso, pero muchas veces termino diciendo cosas así en las clases. Como, no preguntes por qué. Recordamos bien que es así, que así se
ajá,
dice en esta circunstancia, pero no cuestiones demasiado el por qué, porque muchas veces no hay un porqué muy claro, ¿no?
sí.
A veces son simplemente modismos que se pegaron y quedaron y se repitieron, y no hay mucha razón del por qué, ¿no? Pero es verdad, en los saludos hay un montón. Solo en los
Sí,
saludos
pero
hay un montón.
solo estoy de acuerdo. Solo quiero enviarte un mensaje por Zoom, porque eso es eso como se dice y cómo te ha ido.
No, te sobra la Y. ¿Cómo te
Okay,
ha
okay.
ido? Como HA.
Like this or
No,
HA. Okay, that's
sí,
why I
eso.
was confused. That's why I was confused. See, that makes
Sí.
more sense to me.
And you know what that
¿Cómo
is?
te ha ido?
¿Y sabes qué es
Yeah.
eso? El A,
Well, like
HA.
ha ido. Yeah, yeah,
Sí,
yeah. It's like ha estado.
claro.
It's like
En
yeah. So ha
infinitivo,
ido.
¿qué sería en
Like he's
infinitivo?
gone.
¿Cómo sería A en infinitivo?
¿Qué significa ha en español?
No, en infinitivo. You know what I mean? What is the
A ver.
infinitive of yes?
A ver. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, 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 okay.
I
Yeah,
knew
no,
you
I
would
knew
know
the
it.
answer. I just wasn't. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was like,
Sometimes the question is more confusing than the
yeah,
actual answer.
exactly, exactly. But I didn't know that answer. So that's awesome. Oh, dude, I love Spanish. I love Spanish
I
so
do
much.
too.
It's
Did you
it's
notice? Did you notice that haber y tener en inglés son la misma palabra? En ambos casos es have. O
haber y
sea,
tener, sí.
ustedes tienen
En,
una
en-
palabra have que la pueden
ujú,
usar como verbo tener o como el auxiliar haber. O sea,
sí.
en español
Y
se
es
divide.
difícil. Porque a veces estoy enseñando mi compañero de cuarto el español y
Ujú.
un día dije, what did I say? I said, it was like, yeah, I was like, how have you been? And I
Ujú,
said, ¿cómo se dice how? Él dijo, ¿cómo? ¿Cómo se
ujú.
dice have? Él dije, tener. Y
Claro.
no, 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 no.
No es
Ya,
ese
no, no,
tener.
no, es como has estado. Es como, porque eso no tiene sentido contigo.
Claro.
Pero es difícil para
Pero
enseñarlo.
nosotros tenemos que aprender, los que aprendemos inglés, que si vamos a
Mm,
decir tener o si vamos a usar alguna forma del auxiliar haber, vamos a tener que recurrir a la misma palabra, have.
mm,
Ustedes al revés.
ya.
Tienen que darse cuenta que a veces have va a ser tener y a veces va a ser haber, ¿no? Se
Sí.
divide.
Y
Sí.
también es lo mismo con la palabra por en español.
Ujú.
Hay muchos significados. Creo que por
Uy,
decir, like, por Instagram, me alegro por ti.
como hablamos
Ah,
la otra vez.
estoy caminando por la tienda.
Sí.
Cosas así. Y
Se
por
nota la
eso.
diferencia del uso cuando lo decimos a esas oraciones en inglés.
Mm,
Se nota que son diferentes las ocasiones, son diferentes los usos, porque generalmente en inglés van a ser otras palabras que vamos a usar.
mm,
El otro día hablábamos de te escribo por Instagram. En inglés vos dirías
I'll write you in Instagram. Like I'll
en
text you in
Instagram.
Instagram. Yeah.
Claro. But if I
Yeah.
travel, no, si viajo por avión,
Hmm. Yeah. 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 I'm traveling by plane.
you will say by, claro,
Yeah.
by
Yeah. But
plane.
I also have a question. So, estoy caminando por la tienda. Is that like by the store or is that like through the store?
Por la tienda, bueno, a ver. A veces decimos que estoy pasando, voy a pasar por tu casa o voy a pasar por el barrio, like you're gonna,
By your
like
house.
walk by the area.
Okay.
Como que vas a
Because
estar
my
por ahí
friend from
cerca.
Mexico was telling me it means through, and I was
Sí.
like, I don't think that's right. And I don't know if he
Because it
knew.
could also
So
be that, for example, si vas a
really,
caminar por el bosque, ahí sí, you're gonna walk through the forest. Por,
okay,
en ese caso es como a través, como through,
okay,
¿entendés? Entonces
interesting.
puede
Yeah.
ser, ¿no?
Uh,
Ha pasado muchas veces que escucho que americanos aprendiendo español, cuando vienen a mi casa, me dicen, ¿puedo pasar por el baño? Y yo les digo, puedo pasar al baño, no por el baño, porque
yeah.
parece que vas a decir, ¿Can I go through the bathroom? ¿No?
Yeah.
Como, you're gonna walk through it.
Interesting. Yeah,
Sí.
that is difficult because yesterday my friend was quizzing me on how much I knew, and I was doing pretty good. But when he said some of these words, I was giving him definitions that he didn't like. But I thought por most of the time means by. Like if you want to say la tienda está por la tienda. Well, no, la tienda está por la calle, right?
Ok, está por la calle.
Like the store is by the street.
What would that mean?
Like I'm just trying to say, like, if I'm trying to give someone directions, they're like, "Where's the store?" Oh, it's just by the street down the road, something like that.
Right.
Like,
Me suena extraño por la
I don't know if
calle.
I would say it like that in English
Yes, no.
or Spanish, but let me think of a better example. Like, is there a bench by the pond? Like, hay un banco por el agua,
Ah, ¿por qué?
por el agua. That makes
¿Qué
sense.
agua?
Like the pond. I don't know how to say pond.
Ah, como el lago, la laguna. La
Yeah, yeah,
laguna. Ok,
yeah,
sí. ¿Qué
yeah.
agua?
Yeah,
Sí.
yeah, yeah.
Ok.
Yeah, con agua. That's funny because that didn't make any sense.
By the pond,
I have
claro,
a
cerca
friend
de...
from Africa, and we went. There's like a beach, is what we call it, but it's really just sand. It's by a lake, so it's not technically a beach because a
Ajá,
beach is by the ocean.
right.
Uh, but he would call it the waters when he was talking about like let's go to the
The
beach. But he was
waters.
like, "Are we gonna go to the waters?" And I don't know why. I don't know what language he was referring to. That I'm sure it made sense in his
What is
language.
his
But
native language?
Swahili or Karundi, but in Africa
Ah,
he speaks like six languages. So
wow.
English is his sixth language, and so he speaks it really well English. But
We're struggling to speak to.
yeah, sometimes there's a little bit of like I'm sure the waters make sense in his language.
It sounds like an
Yeah,
ancient language, las aguas. Vamos a las
yeah,
aguas.
Yeah,
Sí.
Las Aguas. That's funny. I also don't like that it's Las Aguas. Like it's Las Aguas, but it's El Agua. I
You know
don't like
why?
that.
You know
Yeah,
why?
it sounds better. Like you can't start an A by an A.
Yeah, but if I ask you, okay, what is water? Masculino o femenino? ¿Qué es agua, digo? Masculino o femenino.
Um,
Como palabra, como sustantivo.
Agua, I would think is feminine, but I think it's actually masculine.
You were right with the first try.
Feminine.
Sí, y pensa esto. Vos podés decir el agua. How would you say the water is good? Like it's nice, it's
El agua
tasty.
está bueno. Oh,
El
está buena.
agua es buena, el agua es buena, es rica, limpia, sana.
Yeah,
Ahí te
I
das
don't like.
cuenta que es femenino. I
I
don't like that.
understand it's feminine. You just can't say la agua. La agua.
Ajá, exactamente.
Sounds.
Pero la palabra no
El agua
deja
is
de
like
ser femenino.
yeah,
Y
yeah,
al decirla en plural también se nota, es las aguas. Entonces, el
yeah,
decir el agua es solo un tema, digamos, fonético, cómo suena al juntarlo con el artículo. Pero como palabra es femenino. Y se nota, como te digo recién, cuando digo el agua es rica. Si no sería el agua es rico.
yeah,
O el agua es frío y es fría,
yeah.
¿no?
El agua está
Es confuso, yo
I,
sé.
also, I'm actually getting a lot better, but the difference between hace frío, hace calor, tiene frío, tiene calor, in
Ajá.
tengo, estoy, things like that.
¿Te
Like
confunde?
for example, you say tengo frío, not estoy frío.
Claro.
And then you say like
I'm afraid.
tengo miedo.
Claro, no decimos estoy
Uh-huh.
temeroso.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, tengo miedo. And
Ujú.
then outside is hace frío.
Sí,
Like, hace mucho frío afuera.
claro, no es que yo
Um,
tengo, sino que hace, esa es la condición
yeah.
climática,
And
digamos.
then, and then también puedo decir, no, no es verdad, pero puedo decir, mi teléfono tiene frío. ¿Cierto o no?
Meaning what?
Like, my phone's cold.
No, ahí
Like,
está frío.
it's not true, but like, it's like I was holding a cold water bottle. Like, what would you say?
No, es que está frío. El celular está frío, el agua está frío, la botella está fría. Está.
Why?
Because it's a state. It's a
Okay,
state and
so
it's not
why is
permanent.
it tengo frío?
No, because that's how I feel.
No, I'm not saying that's how I feel. I'm saying I'm cold.
That you are a cold person?
No, I'm saying like,
Because that could be
I'm
different.
cold.
You
In
are
English.
a
Yeah.
cold person is not the same as you are cold in
Okay.
Spanish.
Okay.
Una es
No.
tenés frío, vos tenés frío, you are cold, that's what you're feeling.
Uh-huh.
Y ahora tú eres frío.
It's like I'm a cold person.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the way you are. That's, you know.
It's the same with like estoy aburrido, soy aburrido. It's like one saying I'm bored, one saying I'm boring.
Nice. That's a
Yeah.
good example.
Yeah.
That's a good
Actually,
example.
yeah. Because I remember I've only taken one Spanish class in my life where I really tried to learn Spanish.
Mhm.
And nobody was like, I had already been speaking Spanish for a while, so I felt like I was more advanced, but I've never learned grammar, so I thought it was important to take the class.
Right.
And nobody was understanding soy versus estoy. And I was like, I don't know how to explain it, but I kind of do. And that was the best example I had to explain the difference. Because, like, if you say soy aburrido, that's like a description of who you are. I am boring. But if you
Exacto.
want to say estoy aburrido, it's just like right now, like I'm bored in this class. But it's not saying you are a boring person. So it's hard to
Exactly.
explain, but it's description. I don't know why I'm teaching you, but
No,
it's
no, it's okay.
yeah,
I've been
it's
teaching this past week about that.
exactly okay.
Like the difference between being bored and boring. And the
Yeah.
same, and maybe you can help me with this one. How would you say I am embarrassed and this is
Estoy
embarrassing?
avergonzado. Estoy avergonzado. Esto es. I don't know. You say esto es something?
You could say
Like,
that. This is
like
embarrassing.
esto es. If you would have asked me a week ago, I would have said like estoy embarazado, but that's wrong. Yeah, I learned that that's wrong, but I don't know how to say this is embarrassing. Esto es avergonzadazo. I don't know.
Muy creativo, muy creativo.
Yeah.
Dirías, esto es vergonzoso. o es
Avergonzoso.
avergonzante. Sí, vergonzoso me
Yeah.
parece, me gusta más. O,
Yeah.
o si no digo, esto es una vergüenza y uso el sustantivo vergüenza.
Yeah.
But
Um,
something else about I am embarrassed. If suppose you want to say I'm embarrassed to sing in public.
Estoy avergonzado para cantar en público. Público.
Parecería como que técnicamente está bien, pero
Ajá.
me parece a mí, no sé qué dirán los que escuchan, pero si vos decís estoy avergonzado de cantar en público, me suena como que ya lo hiciste y lo hiciste tan mal que te sentís ahora de esa manera. Pero yo creo que si digo I'm embarrassed to sing in public, like I'm too shy,
Yeah.
yo diría me da vergüenza cantar en
Ah,
público. Y no me parece que transmite lo mismo que estoy avergonzado. Because
uh,
estoy avergonzado me parece como I am ashamed of what I
yeah,
did,
yeah,
of
yeah.
having
That's,
sung in public.
see,
¿No?
I hear that too often from my students. They always say I'm ashamed in English. And I'm like, I feel like I understand what you're saying, but that sounds too harsh on yourself.
Using the
Um,
word ashamed.
yeah, like in
It sounds
English,
like
like
you did something really bad.
yeah, like I've never said I was ashamed unless like it was bad.
Right.
Like be like, oh yeah, I'm ashamed that I did that. I've never used ashamed lightly.
For
Just
example,
doesn't.
for having offended someone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Something like that. Yes.
yeah.
But singing in public is not, you're not committing any
Right.
crime. It's
Yeah,
not,
yeah. You can say I'm shy or I'm nervous or yeah. You can even
me
say I'm
gusta.
embarrassed, but
Sí. I'm too shy to sing in public. Well, en
exactly.
español es muy común decir, ay, no, me da vergüenza cantar en público, me da vergüenza hablar en público, me da vergüenza, no sé, grabarme. Y
Yeah,
decimos, me da vergüenza. Like,
yeah,
I'm too shy to
yeah.
do that, you know?
That's funny. Yeah, eso no tiene sentido conmigo porque nunca tengo avergonzado. Nunca me da.
Nunca tengo,
Yeah,
nunca
nunca
tengo,
tengo
¿qué?
avergonzoso.
Vergüenza. Ahí
Vergüenza.
necesitas el sustantivo vergüenza. That would be the
Yeah,
noun.
yeah, okay. But
Nunca tengo
I love
vergüenza.
to fail. Failing is a part of the process.
What?
So failing is a part of, like I'm saying I love to fail. Like I
Ah,
don't get embarrassed.
failing. I thought you were
Yeah.
saying fail.
No, no, no,
Fail?
no, no,
What's
no, no, no,
fail?
no, no, fail. Fail. Yeah. Because like people that are scared to fail, they never grow. They
Ah,
never get better.
absolutely.
So like
I
for me, it's
agree.
like when I see a chance to practice Spanish, I go for it no matter how bad I do. I don't know if I told you about this. I'm becoming president of a club at school where where we help first generation students from Latin America finish college. And I actually
Wow.
gave a speech in Spanish in front of like 100 students. And I remember thinking like,
En serio.
yeah, and like no, like basically I really impressed myself that I did it, but I also did it well. And I like got my point across. Like maybe I didn't say it the most native way, but I got my point across. And I don't know,
That's all
it was
right.
all like because everyone else is in the club, they all speak perfect Spanish. I'm the only one that's learning it. And so they were all like kind of blown away that I did it so well. And I don't know, I just think that like being embarrassed, it has its time and place. Like maybe there's some things that you shouldn't do because they're genuinely embarrassing, but like in terms of just trying something, you should never be embarrassed. You should
Wow,
always
that's
give it.
so good. That is so amazing.
Yeah.
So
I
you gave a talk
mhm.
in front of how many?
I would
Like,
say probably like 60 to we didn't count. Probably between 60 and 100. It was like a full like classroom at
right.
school and it was
Uh-huh.
made for like big lectures. So there was like a lot of seats and it
Right.
was mostly full. And about half of them spoke fluent English, about half of them didn't. So we just did the presentation in Spanish. And
Wow. I'm so
yeah,
proud of you. That's
I,
amazing. That's really
thank you.
great.
I
When
was
was
really
that?
proud.
When did this happen?
This was like a maybe I think we called the night that it happened. I don't this was maybe 2 weeks ago. So I don't know if we called then, but it happened and actually it was that day that that because they were trying to pick a new president and it was that day that they decided that it was going to be me, so next semester. Um yeah, so
That's
because the
amazing.
current president's going to graduate in May. So
Yeah.
they needed
So
a
they
new
need a
one.
new one.
Yeah, and they're like, Luke, you're gonna be the first white person to be president of the club. And I was like,
Wow.
uh,
That is
yeah,
that's really,
so
really great.
Yeah, it was
I had no
exciting.
idea, but I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, so that's
Very
why
random.
I'm so busy because I'm doing school full time. I'm going to start working full time. I'm president of a club at school. I teach English online,
That
and
is exactly what I was thinking right now. Like, when are you going to have time to do all those things? Like,
because even right now I'm doing a separate job with someone. It's pretty flexible, so I'm able to do it, but I'm running someone's social media. And he's like I don't want to say he's famous, but he's like very successful here in Utah, and some people know him if they're
right.
in the industry. And he's like too busy to run his social media, and he found out that I have like 100,000 followers on TikTok, and he's like, I'll just pay you to do it. But it's really difficult because I'm so busy. Like
Of
it's
course.
not gonna be easy to
What
add.
does he do?
He's a salesman,
Uh-huh.
but only for a specific industry. So it's like if you're not in the industry, you've never heard of him. But if you are in the industry and you live in Utah, you've probably heard of him because he's like the
Okay.
best guy to do it. Um,
What's his name?
but his name's Brigham Lindsay. But you wouldn't know him because he's not famous. He's just good at what he does. So but he wants to become famous because he wants to build a team and he wants to
Right.
like hire people and he wants to be more well known. So he was trying to find a way to make his Instagram get bigger, but he needs someone
Uh-huh.
to run it. He's I don't know how old he is, but I think he's probably close to I don't know, he might be over 40, I don't know, but he's never really used Instagram. And so
Mhm.
he's just like, Luke, I'll just pay you to do it. And I told him that I'm like, once my job starts on March 13th, I'm not gonna be able to do it anymore. So so he
So,
said that's okay. So
speaking
I'm just
about
paying.
that,
Yeah,
I was going to ask you, March 13th, you're starting with a new job,
yeah,
the store, right?
yep. Yeah, it's
What was it
swimming
called?
in
I
the
forgot.
outfit. It's called Lazy Boy.
Lazy Boy. Because
Yeah,
Lazy Boy is not just a lazy boy, it's a name for a type of a kind
chair.
of chair, right?
Yeah, it's called Lazy Boy because you get home, you sit down, you roll back, you put your feet up, and you
Yeah.
just Lazy Boy.
It's like a rocking chair, rocking
Yeah,
chair.
yeah. It's like a rocking chair, but instead of just going back and forth, you
Ah,
extend out and you lay down
right.
on the.
Okay.
So they usually can. I don't know. I wouldn't really say they rock. Like I wouldn't say they rock like a chair, like a rocking chair,
Hmm.
but they can move usually.
Right.
So
And that's
yeah,
starting on the 13th of this month,
yeah.
March.
So I got
And
next week is my last free week. Next week I have no school. And then so I have 1 week. I call it the calmness before the storm. The calm before the storm.
the calmness before the storm. Yes.
Yeah.
And Spanish has a lot to do with you getting that job, right?
Yeah, because I am qualified. I have done sales, but because I'm a full-time student, I'm going to be the only student there. And so they didn't really want a student because they want someone that can work 5 days a week, and I can't do that. But when I told them I spoke Spanish, like there aren't that many gringos that speak Spanish. So they were like, honestly, we'll work with you and we'll get you hired. So I'm really excited and I'm hoping that I can manage it with school. But I'm almost done with school, so
Okay.
I
Yeah.
only have a year left, and my GPA is super good. So
Your
I
what?
like we call it GPA. It means
GPA, what is
grade.
that?
So I'm glad you asked this. This is the first time you've ever not known something. I love it. But GPA is grade point average. So what it means is your average grade throughout all of your school.
Right.
So, like
Okay.
if you fail one class, it's bad, but then you get an A in the next one, it averages out to like a C.
Hmm.
But so my GPA throughout college is really high, and I love that. But it's not that it's bad to have a high GPA, but it's not really necessary because all I need is like an average of a C just to get my degree, and a degree is worth the same whether you got all A's or all C's. So
Really?
yeah, it's worth the same.
So what's
So
the point?
the point is, well, really, it's to make sure that you understand what you're learning in school. It's
Okay.
like let's say sure, I passed the class to become a doctor, but if I'm not a good doctor, I'm not going to get a job. You
Okay.
have to be good at what you do
Yeah.
to do it. But for my major in school, the real important thing for doing it is so that if I want to go to the school after it, it's called a master's degree. If I
Hmm.
want that, I have to do good in this school. Um, I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know if I'm gonna do it or not. So my grades, like, they're right now they are plenty good enough to get in.
Hmm.
But once I start working, if my grade GPA drops, um, it might be harder to get in. So I kind of have to
Hmm.
decide how important it is. Like, how much do I need to work and make money and save money versus getting good grades? So I'm gonna try to do both. So
Hmm.
far, I've basically done good throughout all college, but we'll see. This is gonna be the most busy I've been since my first semester. So
Clearly.
yeah, so we'll see.
With
But
all
hey,
those things that you are going to be doing, that's pretty
yeah.
amazing. But
So
it's
you,
great because it's something else. What I sense from here is that you are really enjoying having the chance to do all those things. You're loving what
that's
you're doing.
very good point. Like do you cannot reach your potential if you don't enjoy it. Like you
Hmm.
have to enjoy life,
Yeah.
like even when it's hard. Like I like Spanish has been so hard to learn, but I love it. And so I
Hmm.
won't give up and I won't back down. I will always every day just a little bit every day. Poco poco cada dia. I love that. I love saying that.
Some of my students, when they watch one of our videos, when you say like, quiero dejar,
Yeah. Yeah,
so
what
they
is
say,
that?
but tell him not to quit because he's doing great. His Spanish is
Uh,
really good. Tell him not to quit. I said he's not gonna quit.
yeah,
It was
no.
just the moment there, like
Yeah.
the
I
moments of
joke about it all the
frustration.
time. If I was really thinking about quitting, what I would do is I would just say nothing, and I would
Yeah,
and I would just
exactly.
back out. If I say I'm going to quit, I'm not going to
Of
quit.
course.
It's just a joke. Yeah.
That is so true.
Um,
Yes.
but that's one thing I need to make more videos on my TikTok. I know this isn't relevant to our class today, but I need to make more TikToks because I haven't made one in like 3 months, and I'm just like, it's only going to get more busy.
Yeah,
So,
I know. Well, it's lots of things to do. But
uh,
yeah. Well, you're gonna get back to that soon. So
yeah,
yeah.
we'll do it. I just can't wait for when I graduate because then I'm going to probably live in Colombia for like 6 months, and I'm gonna take a Spanish course, a real one, like a real
Over
in-depth
there.
immersion. Yeah, in Colombia,
All right.
and they have a university in the center of the city, and
Nice.
there's like a summer-long program to learn Spanish, and it's like I don't know how much it is. I think it's like $2,000, which is a lot, but it's yeah, it should. We'll see how it goes, but
Uh-huh.
you get to work at the university every day, so I'm excited for that. But the only way that I can do that is if I save a lot of money by working my job and finishing school. So I have to do both. So I think the message from all this is begin with the end in mind. Do you know what that means?
Begin with the end in mind. I suppose that having, being clear what's the goal, where you're going,
Exactly.
knowing
I
exactly where
love
you're
that you can
going, why you're
understand
doing
that
things.
in a second language. That is so cool. Yeah. So it's just like you have to see your goal and you got to start there. Like, what do I need the day before that happens? And then the day before that happens. And the day before that happens. So it's like
Uh-huh.
now that we're here, it's like, all right, if I want to be here, I have to do all these things until,
Right.
to get to my goal. So,
That's a
um,
very good perspective.
yeah, begin with the end in mind. It's a very common thing to say. I wouldn't say it's super common, but it makes sense in English and people say it. But are
Yeah.
there any phrases like that in Spanish that I should learn?
Oh,
Yeah.
or something similar to that. Um, I can't think of one that,
Yeah, it's
that sounds
okay.
like
I mean,
that.
like, no estoy seguro si dices así, pero si quieres hacerlo, puedes hacerlo, or si quieres, puedes. Like, that's
Totalmente,
fine. But
sí.
in English, we say,
Querer
if
es
there's,
poder.
what is it?
Querer es poder.
Querer. Okay, I like that. That sounds more native. I like that.
Sí.
Because in English, do you know how we say that? Like, I guess you can translate it literally, but there's a more
Mhm.
native phrase of saying that. Do you know it?
Not that I can think of. What is it?
So, yeah, you could say if you want it, you can do it. That's fine.
Okay.
But we say if there's a will, there's a way.
Ah, I've heard that one.
Yeah. And
There's a
to me,
will, there's a
it's
way.
like powerful. That sounds really good. If there's a will,
Yes.
there's a way. So it's like if like a will is like a desire. So
Yes.
if there's a will, there's a way. So you'll find a way to do it. And
Do you
another thing I
know?
think, you say,
No, I was going to say if you would know what a good word in Spanish is for the word will, to have the will to do something.
deseo.
It could be deseo. I think the best translation for will is la voluntad. Si tienes la voluntad para hacerlo, hay una manera de hacerlo.
Okay.
I think
Because
that
I
would
will
be the
say,
translation.
I thought you were going to ask me how to say way, because way is kind of confusing too. Like you can say like este lado, this way, or you
Sí,
can say esta forma, esta
sí,
manera, or
manera,
you can say manera, yeah. Or I
camino.
think that might be it.
Y camino.
Camino, estoy en camino,
I'm on
algo
my
así.
way.
Yeah, okay, that's what it is. Yeah,
No, estoy en camino, I'm on my way.
yeah. So it is interesting how many ways there's to
Todo
say
eso es
way.
way. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So
And no way.
yeah. And one thing I don't like isn't, yeah, no way. That's one, whenever I say that to my students, they never understand. I go, no way. And they're like, because even if it meant like no forma, it doesn't make any sense. Like it means like no
Es
way.
raro, pero como,
En
sí, it's
serio?
like
That's
there's
kind of what it means.
no way that is true, for example. Or
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
no
yeah.
way that can be right.
Uh-huh.
No hay manera. No
I will
puede
say another
ser.
thing that's interesting is like, and this is a question that my friend asked me yesterday. So in English, we can say like if someone says like, Luke, go to school, I could say I will, and that's it. I can just say I will. But in Spanish, you can't just say voy. Like
No,
so
no.
so what
Eso
so
es muy
what's the
distinto.
minimum that you can say?
Bueno,
Can you say ire is a whole sentence?
es que tampoco diríamos eso. No,
¿Cómo?
no, es que no diríamos iré
Okay,
tampoco.
so you don't just
Diríamos,
say it.
es bueno,
It's
ok,
fine.
lo hago,
Uh-huh.
voy,
Okay. But
bueno,
like
voy.
if they're saying like, yeah, Luke, go to school. Ah, iré. Eso no tiene sentido. Eso no es correcto.
Sí, puede ser iré o voy a ir. Está bien, voy a ir. Voy
So
a ir.
so but is iré, is that fine?
Iré, sí.
Yeah, iré. So you can
It's
say
part of the
iré,
Spanish
iré.
language.
Okay. But like you can end the sentence there
Bueno, iré.
because in English you have to have a subject and
Right.
stupid, but you'd have to have a subject and then what they're doing. I feel
The
stupid for
verb.
not
The
knowing
verb.
verb.
The action.
I was
Yeah.
like, what do we call that? Yeah, the verb. Yeah, the subject and the
Yeah.
verb. So it's like but for some reason though, I will is fine. Like that's not I guess technically that's not a complete sentence, but you can say that as a response. Like
Ajá.
you wouldn't start and end a conversation with "I will." That doesn't make any sense.
But it's the
But if
same
someone
thing.
asks me,
It's the same thing that happens, for example, why didn't you do your homework? I said, I
uh-huh,
did.
lo hice.
Claro, la hice,
Uh-huh.
pero usando el verbo hacer. I did do it. You know,
Pero
like,
tienes que decir más que eso o no?
lo hice, sí la hice,
Okay.
diríamos. Sí la hice. I did. Aunque usted en inglés sería solo I did. En
Yeah.
español probablemente digamos, sí lo hice
Because
o sí la
usually,
hice.
just to make sure that I'm saying it correctly, I say it in the longest form possible,
Claro,
just for practice, but also to make sure that I'm right.
sí,
So I'll say, like, instead of just lo prometo que voy a hacerlo. Like,
sí. Bueno,
I know
creo que
you can say lo
quizás,
prometo.
quizás más que lo prometo decimos te prometo. Like I
Te
promise
prometo.
you. Te prometo que lo voy a hacer. Te prometo que voy a
Yeah.
estar ahí.
In English, you can just say, yeah, I promise. And we always do this. Do you do this in Latin America? With your
Pasa que
pinky?
yo lo conozco, pero no sé si lo conozco por los americanos que conozco en mi vida o porque también es una cosa acá o lo vemos en la televisión. Pero sé que a muchos que les he preguntado, o a veces hablando de las manos o partes del cuerpo y hablando
Yeah.
de que este se llama pinky, hablamos
Yeah.
de pinky promise
Yeah.
y
So okay, so
generalmente saben de qué estoy hablando.
okay. So you guys probably don't use it then in Or are you saying that you do?
¿Qué decimos en español? ¿Promesa de qué?
Like,
Promesa
like we'll always be
de
like,
meñique.
like
No.
if someone goes like, hey, I promise I'll go, and they do this, then
Sí.
you have to bring your pinky and go do this.
Yeah.
That's a promise. Yeah.
The thing is that if we do it, but I think that we're copying what we've seen on TV,
Yeah,
because
that's funny. So I
what
mean,
would
I
be the
know
thing that we would say in Spanish? ¿Qué decimos?
te prometo.
Solamente, bueno, te prometo y hacemos así. No sé. No,
Yeah,
no, no, no creo que sea tan común acá.
so
No sé.
I'm wondering though, is there anything like that in Latin America that you know of that's like weird, where it's like,
Yeah,
you know, I don't know. I love to learn native things. 'Cause I love to
I know.
learn things you don't learn in school. Like,
I know.
you know, when I say que más pues, someone knows that I
¿Qué cosa?
actually,
¿Cuál?
huh?
¿Cuál dijiste?
I siempre digo que más pues. En Colombia dicen eso.
Ah,
Es
no, acá
muy
no es
común.
común. De hecho, no lo
Yeah.
entiendo. ¿Qué estás diciendo?
Solo en Colombia es común.
¿Qué
But
más, pues?
que
How do you
más
use
pues.
that? When?
It's like, ¿qué pasa? ¿Qué tal?
Ah,
Te ha
sí.
ido. Yeah, ¿qué más pues?
Ah,
Yeah.
mira.
Like, because like
But it's
it's
very
funny, but
regional.
it's very, yes, very from like I think it's even just Medellin, but it might be
Claro,
all Colombia. But
puede
it's like
ser.
the point is though, when I say that, someone knows like, oh, like he didn't just learn that from Spanish 101. He actually
Yeah,
went. So I try
yeah.
to like every city that I go to, I try to learn something that
Sí,
can kind
bien
of prove that
regional.
I've been there. Yeah. Like
Claro.
in
It's like a souvenir, but in the form of
exactly,
an
and with
expression.
words, yes. Like in
Yes.
Costa Rica, they say pura vida. I don't know if that's common
¿Qué?
everywhere. They say pura vida always.
What
Pura
are the words?
vida.
Piedra.
No. Pura vida. It's pure life.
Pura.
Pura, yeah.
Pura.
Pura vida.
Pura vida. Like pure
Yeah,
life.
you're right. I'm saying it in English. Yeah,
Okay,
pura vida.
sí. Pura
Yeah.
vida.
Have you heard of
Okay.
that?
No.
That's
No,
interesting.
no,
See,
no lo
that's
he
cool though,
escuchado.
because that's almost like obviously it's it's kind of like proof to you that I've been there because like they say that.
Claro.
It's funny
Sí.
because sometimes a stranger will walk into a group, and if it's usually only if it's like a party, like it's usually not like random. But if someone goes pura vida, then everyone else says it too, pura vida, and so
¿En
it's like a
serio?
little yeah, and it's super cool. And then in Mexico, I know it's super slang, but they say way all the time,
Sí, eso sí
like
escuché.
pasa
Sí,
way, qué tal way, sí, ahí está,
es verdad.
stuff like that, and
Creo que
it's just
estamos,
funny.
nosotros, por
Yeah.
lo menos argentinos, estamos más familiarizados con los modos mexicanos. Supongo que por la televisión y cosas así, hay
Yeah.
varios programas de televisión muy populares a lo largo de la historia que, bueno, nos dejaron esas marcas,
Yeah.
¿no? Escúchame, queda un minuto de esta grabación, de esta, ¿sí? Eh, no sé si querés que hagamos otra para seguir grabando otra parte. Eh,
Okay.
sí.
I have to call. I have to call Axel really quick. So do you want to?
Ah,
Can you just go after that?
sí,
Yeah.
obvio.
Okay. Okay.
Dale,
We'll call that. We'll call in like 10 minutes. Okay.
perfecto, dale, dale.